Right, okay. So, good to see you all. It's so we've got the start of October, start of a new project. So if you fancy taking part in this one, it's going to be people sort of in places. So that's the theme I thought I'd explore this month. So I'll start this week, and maybe I might do 2 weeks of drawing, just tackle a couple of it, because in a way the drawing is the bit that I think most people struggle with, and then we can take it there. So apparently it's a 5-week month and not a 4-week month today. So the email I sent out yesterday is wrong. But what I'm going to do is, I think most of you know that once you start a class, the idea is like pay monthly. But now we've got to a level where, with this class and the afternoon class, I'm managing to average 15 people, or I have managed to average 15 people per session. So if I've got that sort of level, then if you've missed sessions, I'm happy to just carry that session over to the next month. Whereas what I was doing in the past, when COVID happened and I could only have so many people in the room, and we had to be socially distanced and things like that, I was basically asking everybody to pay if they wanted a place on the class, really. And those sessions, if you missed a session, you could perhaps make it up with the other class. But so that's slightly changing. I'm changing that now, basically, just to let you know. So that was in the email, but just to let you know in person, sort of thing. So hopefully we've got some new students, which is great, and we'll keep a nice sort of buoyant class. What else to tell you? So yeah, 5 weeks of this month, so that means that'll give you a bit more for this project anyway. I just wonder if there's anything else to tell you. So I've brought a few, if you want to choose some of my photos, I've got some photos here. Last month I did cover a little bit on portrait drawing, so I'm not going to repeat that, but if you do want to do a bit more of that, or look a bit more of that, there should be the videos of the demo that I did on portrait drawing should be out there. And on my video channel, my YouTube channel, I started making them all public, so I don't just do it through the link. So you can get to this week's video through the links that I send out each week. But on my channel, they're public, so you can have a look back and see the ones that say portrait. You want to look at that. So I mean, with people, I feel like over the years I've benefited an awful lot from drawing from life. I used to go to live drawing years ago, years and years of that, at college and evening classes. I also do a lot of sketching. These are sort of fairly recent, just sketching people when I'm out and about. So these were people on the tube. So that's something, like if I go painting up in London, I quite often take a little sketchbook like this, because it's quite nice and lightweight. And I can fit this in my painting bag, and then I'll just sketch if there are any odd moments. So if anybody wants to look at those, there's a few examples of those.
Paul, do you ask them first?
No.
No.
I was trying to be discreet. Some people don't. Well, some people are very public about it, but I'm not. I'm quite discreet. If I feel like someone's getting a bit uncomfortable, I won't carry on.
You don't wear a mask or anything.
No, the thing is, if I'm drawing somebody, if I'm drawing someone about as far away as Ian is, for instance, you're not really going to know what I'm doing, really. You're not. I mean, I'm not sort of like, I'm not sort of private. Not really, no. No, I just don't make it. I don't shout about it, but I do just sketch. And if people see what I'm doing, that's fine. A few times people have seen, and to be honest, most people they're sucked into their phones most of the time. They're so self-absorbed they don't really notice. But I'm usually sketching at a little bit of a distance. Sometimes I have sketched people who are opposite me, and I'm just sort of discreet about it. I don't, I try not to do too much of that. But at the same time, if people want to look, that's fine. And sometimes people have asked to take photos of what I've done, and that's been fine. Yeah, so I don't really mind. My idea is perhaps to be able to put them together to make a painting album sometime. I haven't got to that point. But I would quite like to do that, because I do a fair bit of travelling up to London, a fair bit on the trains and the tubes. I quite fancy doing the painting on that theme, really. sketch the thing with painting people. So some of these, like this painting was done as a demo for an art, and then I worked it up, you know, a fair bit in the studio, sort of tidied up this. So these figures are all from, you know, from photos. The other paintings I brought in there, I think they're all from life, the other one. So things that one, that was in Ireland, and the Irish thought it was a really nice day that day. It was dry, which was really good. But that's like a beach scene, and yeah, I just did all that from life. I just basically this family here would just kind of get themselves set up, and I just kind of basically sketched them in, and then painted the rest of the painting around it. And then the figures in the background, I just kind of dotted them in once the background was in. So I'll perhaps do something a little bit like that later on, just to show you, know, different ways of incorporating figures within a big, within a painting. The same with the ones over here; they're all just sketched in as I work. But I just thought it might be quite good to just go through some of the basics of drawing people, really. So I'm going to use like a couple of pastel pencils, any pencil will do, but basically the idea is like draw lightly to start with and set things out and then work into the shapes. So I thought I'd start with him. I'll do single figures to start with. So obviously we've got a back view, which in a way might be easier. So I'll start with his head. I'll start here so I've got enough room. So I'm thinking head there. Sometimes it helps to just plan out where you want to work. You know, head there, feet there. So that's probably enough space for his head. So working from a photograph, you could just measure this out, how many times his head's going to fit into his body. But to do that just with my pencil, I think that's about how big his head is. Sorry, it's a bit of a small photo. But really, if you're working with photos, again, the bigger the photo, the more you're going to find it. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably nearly 7. So I mean, you know, I've not got the whole of his, you know, chin. So some people will tell you like there's 6 heads to a person or something like that. But you've really just got to measure it. It depends on what you're looking at. So if that's, you know, the amount of head I'm seeing, that's going to fit in about 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's about, I was about roughly right. And that's roughly where it is. So once I've got that, I can see a tiny bit of the side of his face. Just get a general head shape. And you don't want to make them too round. They're not really like that. They're more like, you know, you could perhaps draw a rectangle and round the corners off. And then what I find useful is, obviously with clothed figures, we can't really see what's going on under the clothing really. So I try and imagine sort of then where his spine would be. And if it helps, just sort of, you know, sketch it lightly on the photo. So, you know, for me, it's going across there and then coming back down there. So once I've got that, I can then think shoulders are coming out to here, and the same one here. I tend to draw like the clothing, like his shirt sleeves, and perhaps work through his torso. And I think that's about where his shirt would be. But again, I could just measure that. 1, 2, probably about 3 heads to the shirt. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that's about right for that. And then just try and get a sense of where his waist would be. With arms, if you just get the general direction first, something like this, and then we can then go in and refine the shape. So if I just kind of work this in a little bit more now with a darker pencil. He's got an ear about there, and shoulders here. And then I've got a general guide as to which way his arm's going, so that's one. So then we kind of try and draw each side of his arm. So it's a bit flatter that side, there's a little bit more definition on the muscle there. And then his hand is just below his waist level there. His hand will come in. Something like like that. And I can do the same on this side. So that's fairly straight. A little bit of a shape to the elbow. It's curving around there. And I still would do this if I'm drawing, well, I wouldn't necessarily with these little ink sketches, but if I was doing a light drawing where I wanted to make a better drawing, I probably would sketch out a little bit of structure first. And then carry on here. This foot, or this leg, I think his thigh is coming out that way. This is fairly straight, so he's got most of his weight on this leg. And what you'll find is that almost like the centre of gravity will probably be either over this foot or somewhere sort of between his feet. So that's one way of, if we just dropped a line through there, like a vertical line, that helps me to sort of get a sense of where I need his legs to go. So it's very easy to get the figures looking like the tilting or leaning over or falling over. So that one. And then just work my way through the calf muscle. Is that right? I think that's right. I think he's got more weight on this leg than on this one behind. And that's slightly further forward. So I think that's going to end somewhere there. And then this one, coming out. So I think that's actually a little bit more, so it comes out that way and then that bit is a bit more vertical. So it will help me get down to his ankle. A little bit of shape on his calf muscle. Then his heel comes out this way and the rest of his foot is down there, and then we can just see a little bit. It looks like he's wearing flip flops or something like that. So that is parting company with his foot. Just draw the underside of that shoe then, something like that. It's not. Yeah. So that's the main thing. Just kind of keep a bit of structure at it first, and try and have a look at the inside of the shape. I've seen a lot of people, and it's very tempting to just start somewhere. The other thing is I pretty much always start from the head and work down. I find that the easiest way. And I've seen lots of people work from the feet up. And also, working around the contours and the profile. But I think if you can try and find some structure within, that helps. Sometimes, the angle between the shoulders, it's not that, but there's probably a little bit of an angle like that in his hips. This one will be a bit lower than that one. So just try and look for that sort of movement within the figure.
Yeah, it's shorts, are they slightly lower on that side?
Yeah, slightly low this side. Yeah, definitely. Just by fraction, so that come down a tiny bit there.
Yeah, that looks
So it's looking for those types of things. So that's a standard figure. I'll very quickly do the same sort of thing with a figure from the front. So this one, he's got head on profile. So if I want to start with his head here, I won't bother measuring it out, but you could do. Just make sure you've got enough space. His glasses are quite handy. I tend to sort of think, well, his head's going to be about there. His neck shape's there. And then obviously his torso is square on to us, pretty much. No. He's quite a tall chap, this fella, so. And his arms somewhere there. I think I made his head too big actually. So let's make that a bit smaller. Bring his shoulders up. And then once I've got that, I can then work in. And I'll probably find it easier to work from the front of his face. So put his nose there, bring his glasses up a little bit. Got an ear roll there. I actually tend to draw features in fairly early. Some people will just do like a head shape and then go into it later. I think once I've got a basic structure, to then get the shape of the face. So something like that. Actually, I've got his ear too far forward. One thing about the proportions of the face sideways is you'll find that, like from the back of the ear to the front here, it's usually about the same as from the eye to the chin. That's just something, so that to there should be about the same as that to down there. So it's just something to look for. I find a lot of people want to start planting ears in about here, and it's far too close. We've got quite a lot of space sort of between here and here. Yeah. So that can be that. And the back of his head's there. And it's just working my way through the shapes then. And with standing figures, you quite often doing the alignments this way. So it's looking at where his, his collar, where his neckline is more or less in line with his ear. So where that little V shape comes in here, and he's got a scarf on. And then his shoulder is tucked in here. Looking at how wide his shoulder is in relation to his face. Part of his collar. And just kind of gradually work through the middle of his jacket. A bit of curve there. So I'd rather work through the middle here and then find the space back to where his arm would be. There. Kind of, the chair is a little bit in the way really. And here. And there. And then just keep going down. Is that enough? Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not. Well, I want to give you a test.
It's a place to start.
Yeah, hopefully you can have to get it started. Just try and do that thing of use some sketching ways to start, which is fairly open. So you've got lots of room to make adjustments. So don't be too definite about it. So I don't know if I forgot to say, but I made a mistake this month, and it's 5 weeks rather than 6. I might have said that again.
Oh, really? Really nice.